Welcome to We Are Every Woman, the podcast where we come together as sisters, mothers, daughters, and friends to share stories, wisdom, and strength. I'm your host, Ruth, and I believe every woman carries a story that can inspire, heal, and empower. Today, I want to open up and share my guest, Miss Deaunna Merrill. How you doing, Deaunna?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm so happy to get a chance to talk to you. So we were just going to sit here and conversate a little bit. And I was just wanting to know, like in your early life and your background, can you share a bit about your childhood and family life?
Yes. So, I'm going to say that I had a great childhood, and it wasn't filled with, any financial challenges that I remember. However, I did have a two-parent household in a way. I would say, for a short period of time, my mom and my dad were together. However, they did split. So, I would see my dad here and there. My mom took on more of a primary role. But thankfully, I did have a grandmother that did step in and kind of fill in where was needed, where my dad did lack.
Yeah.
Now, in the aspect of, outside of financial care, emotional care, I would say that my childhood was kind of lacking in that sense. But being a parent myself, I can kind of understand. I have a mom that didn't really have a mom figure, and then I don't know much about my grandfather, so I don't really know, the aspect of, if my dad really had, a father figure,
Okay.
So I would say that, my parents being young, they did the best that they could. But those are things that I am navigating now, as an adult.
Exactly.
Just dealing with not having that, emotional security as a child.
Okay. I can relate to that. I can. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what about growing up and personal growth? How did your experiences growing up, like you said a little bit, your parents separating, our time with your grandmother, how did it shape you for who you are today?
I would say that I am very caring. So I try to be there for people, outside of just monetary help, because I kind of feel like that's what I kind of lacked as a child. So I try to give that to individuals that I come across. If I can help you monetary wise, absolutely. I'll give someone my last. But I try to, provide people with pieces of wisdom, or if I could, reinforce self-confidence in someone, or if I can provide words of encouragement to help motivate someone. I try to, apply that. And I feel like that's kind of, how I am as an adult based upon things that I wish that I had a little bit more growing up. But dealing with being with my grandmother for so long, I do feel like that I have a very good hard work ethic. I did see my grandmother work multiple jobs, and I was dealing with her sometimes while she was doing those jobs.
Okay.
Being that my parents did work a lot, I was with her, so I feel like I got a lot of her good qualities, like hardworking. I am a very honest and straightforward individual. I can be very goofy.
Okay.
Just to say some of the, just the highlights of things that I feel like I got bits and pieces from just influential people in my life.
Okay. It sounds like that experience really shaped you in a big way. And, I know a lot of people out there, it's going to inspire a lot of different people. So that's amazing, because I remember you as a very helpful young lady. I remember when you were dancing in the church, and I remember you helping the other little ones. So I do, like a big sister. I remember that so well. So that is amazing. All right, so that brings me to your personality, which you dug in a little bit on. Your personality and interest. How would you describe yourself now compared to when you were younger? And what are some hobbies or activities that bring you joy and help you feel like yourself?
Okay, so younger, I lacked emotional intelligence. I was very rebellious as a kid. So outside of church, and doing the Lord's work, and things that we were instilled in. Our grandmother really believed in going to church and things like that. My home life, I was very rebellious. I was always very smart and intelligent back then, but I feel like I just lacked a lot of emotional control. So those are things that I had to work out, being an adult now. Something else that I would say that I had to work on is when I was younger, I feel like I was a lot more carefree and outgoing. Now that I'm an adult, I would feel like I've calmed down a little bit and I'm a little bit more reserved. Just being with the things that I have been through, just growing into the woman that I am now.
Right.
The woman that I am now, I am a very serious person. I am a very disciplined person now. And I would say that I am a very, I would say I'm an introverted person. I don't really share a lot of, my hardships and things like I used to.
Right.
But I'm working on getting out of that.
Okay.
My hobbies and interests and things that light me up, I love to read. I always really loved to read as a kid. That was something that my mom really enforced into us was, knowledge is power.
Right.
So I read in my free time. I am taking an interest in baking, which is so odd.
It's yummy.
I don't really enjoy cooking as much as I used to, but baking is beginning to be my thing. Now, I can't bake cake, but I am really loving making pie. That is something that I'm really taking an interest in. Another hobby that I have is I do enjoy doing things hands-on. I really am trying to get into gardening. That is something that I've been just working on in the back end, just to kind of like have something in my life that I can slow down and nurture and stay consistent with. So those are like two of the things that I would say are my hobbies that light me up. I also enjoy teaching, so I homeschool my kids.
That's beautiful.
My children.
Yes, that's wonderful.
And I have taken an interest in teaching, just in the aspect of just being able to pour into someone younger than me, or just my children, and then just seeing me pouring that love, that energy, that time into them, and seeing that blossom, and seeing their personalities flourish and things like that. So those are kind of like just some of those major things that I enjoy doing.
Yeah, those are wonderful things, and sometimes you look at it and you wonder if it's in your DNA, because I know some families are like similar as far as their empathy for people, and some of their work ethics, and hearing you talk, it kind of reminds me of myself as far as teaching and helping people, even in the monetary part. It's really amazing how DNA can like come together because of how you were molded, or how your grandparents were molded, back in the day, and you looked at certain things and you took certain things from certain things that you were interested in and you used them in your life. So that is so amazing. You are an amazing person, because I follow you a little bit on is it Facebook? I always respond to some of your posts, so throughout different things I see some of the stuff that you had gotten into, and it was almost similar to certain types of women too that love to do those things. So that just brings me to the education and career part. So can you tell me about your career journey from being an entrepreneur to working in logistics, and what inspired you to pursue your bachelor's degree, and what are your goals in that field?
Yes, ma'am. So I'll start from the beginning. So me and my now husband, we had our daughter early, so we didn't really have a career path and things that we wanted to do. It was kind of like a provide type thing and kind of figure it out. So my husband was a sole provider for a very long time for our household. I took care of our daughter, and I kind of became stuck in that stay-at-home mom role. So I was like, what can I do, to contribute in some type of way and help, grow some income, get some type of monetary value for myself. So that's kind of where that entrepreneur role became an idea.
Yeah, I can relate.
COVID hit in 2020, and my husband ended up getting laid off during that time. So it was kind of like, how are we going to make ends meet? You know, we have to think of something bad. So when my husband ended up getting laid off, I decided, well, there are things that I like. I enjoyed soap making at that time. I enjoyed making jewelry at that time, and I enjoyed skincare. So I'm like, let me take this and see what I can do with it. You know, let me just give it a shot. And I just went for it. And honestly, it helped us really make ends meet during that time. I made great money doing that.
Wow.
However, I didn't have a passion for it.
Right.
You know, again, this was something that was just like, we're in a have to make ends meet situation, so let's figure this out, you know. So moving on from that, you know, I did that for probably, I would say, 3 years consistently. I began to see, you know, the world opening back up. COVID was no longer, you know, a huge effect, and people were returning back to work. So those sales for me started to decline.
Right.
So then it was kind of like, what would be my next steps from this?
Exactly.
So my daughter's older now, you know, and I'm thinking like, you know, I can really take this time and really figure out, you know, seeing me go from doing this entrepreneur business, you know, what else can I do? What else can I accomplish?
Yes.
So I decided, I was like, I think I want to go back to school. So,
I can relate to
you
that.
know, so I was thinking like, well, I don't really know what I'm good at. You know, my whole life up until that point was just taking care of my daughter.
Right.
You know, and then we had our son, and so it was just about nurturing and taking care of him. I really didn't have the thought process to really think about, you know, who's Deaunna, what does Deaunna want. So I decided to close my business, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go all in, and I'm just going to go for my associates, and then we'll go from there.
Yes.
So I took a bet on myself, and I enrolled in the community college. I ended up going for business administration, which was like something that kind of fit with what I was already doing, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You know, handling the home stuff, you know, billing and, you know, dealing with paying the bills and organizing budgets and things like that.
Exactly.
So I went full-time with that, ended up graduating at the beginning of this year.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes, ma'am. And then I had a plan of, well, where do I go from here? You know, business administration plays okay money.
Yes.
But I want to really take it even further than that.
Exactly.
So I sat with myself over the summer, and I, you know, made a few goals for myself, and I said, okay, well, I want a salary job. I don't want an hourly job anymore. So I started looking into, well, what was I good at when I was in college?
Exactly.
You know, when I went for my associates, what did I really thrive in?
Okay.
And I did really great in project management, and I did really great in one of my financial classes.
Okay.
So I said, you know, with the job that I currently have now, I work as an office assistant. I deal with I deal with a lot of logistics aspects of like dispatching and things like that. So I put in on Google, you know, how can I transfer these skills into a degree?
Amazing.
The first thing that popped up for me was logistics manager. So I did a little researching, and I said, okay, well, how long do I have to go to school for this? What type of qualifications?
Right.
They said, oh, you just need a bachelor's degree and 1 year experience. I'm like, okay, I got the experience. Like, I gotta go back to school again.
Yeah.
So I reached out to one of my teachers. Shout out to Miss G. I reached
Networking.
out to one of my teachers. Yes, ma'am. I reached out to one of my teachers, and I said, I don't know where to go from here. Can you help me? You know, and she said, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
What do you want to do? And I said, I want to do something that has to do with logistics. And she was like, well, you know, we have a program where you can transfer your credits into a bachelor's degree.
Right.
And you can get a discount for this.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, give me that information. You know, give me that information.
Right.
I mean, this is going to help me tremendously.
I can use that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So I took that information and I reached out to a mentor with the college that I'm in now. So I'm in WGU now, which is all online.
Right.
So it kind of fits with my scheduling that I have now. And my mentor, I told my mentor, I want to do logistics, and I don't know what to do, and I was given this information. And that's kind of like where I am now. So I just started school in August for logistics. And I love it so far. I can't really tell you much about, my classes because I just started. So far, so good.
Okay.
I love it, and I feel like it fits with my personality.
Exactly.
My goals moving forward, I really just want a salary job that I could just condense all of my bills, and that will be able to pay all my bills, not put all my bills on auto pay.
I know that's right.
Focus on just living.
I know that's
just
right.
Living and enjoying.
That is so amazing.
Really the only goal that I have.
Well, that's so amazing, though. It really is, because it can help so many people out there who are confused on what to do, how to do it, how to make decisions on doing it. I just spoke with a young lady the other day. Actually, she was my granddaughter, my granddaughter, and she didn't know what she wanted to do. I think she's coming out of school next year, and she didn't know exactly what she wanted to do. And my son and I were talking with her, but she didn't know. I sent her something I was listening to. It was a man that was speaking. I think he was a NFL player, and he said he played ball, but he said that how you find what you want to do, it's pretty much almost not really what you think you're good at. It's what people tell you you're good at. Because if you can tell a person what they're good at, and you like it, and you hear this all the time, then you're like, let me just try to see, how I fit in with this, because everybody's liking it already, So I sent that to her, so maybe it'll help her. She's very intelligent as well, and I think you're a very intelligent young lady. And I'm telling you, it sounds so much like a DNA thing in a sense, because as far as the teaching, as far as the sitting down, knowing, trying to figure out what to do, making goals, as far as going back to school, as far as just so many different things on the level you're speaking of, I can relate to that. And I don't know, that's maybe why it drew me to you at all the cousins. It drew me to you, just watching your story and how you overcame a lot of different things. So that is so wonderful. So, okay, that brings me to my next question. And it's kind of like life lessons and self-discovery. We may hit on some of them in some of the other questions, but what are some of the most important lessons you've learned about valuing yourself and finding balance in your life? And the second one, how have you learned to set boundaries and practice empathy for yourself and others?
Okay, so this is going to be a hard one for me, because I'm still in the process of really navigating this. And I'm almost getting choked up.
Whatever you say is beautiful. It ain't no book print to answering. So yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So I think the biggest challenge for me right now that I can pinpoint is knowing your self-worth.
Yes.
I have poured into so many people that have came across my life,
God is good.
I have realized that sometimes we pour into individuals and we think that we're pouring into them authentically, but we realize that we're pouring into them selfishly, expecting for something in return.
Yes, there you go.
And that's something that I had to really ask myself, moving forward, is like, do I really value myself, and do I really give authentically?
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Okay. No, that makes sense. A lot of sense.
So that's like a huge lesson that I'm really trying to process right now. Being that I am still learning to navigate my emotions, still learning to navigate.
Oh, you're a young lady. You're a young lady.
Set boundaries.
Yes,
ma'am.
You're a young lady.
I really set boundaries. I don't really know how to really voice that yet, because I'm still currently going through that challenge, those challenges myself. But I can say that those are the two things that I am currently working on is learning how to set proper boundaries. I give a lot,
okay,
and a lot, and a lot, and a lot.
Okay.
And I'm the type of person that I expect to get a lot in
right.
return. A lot, a lot.
Okay.
But the main thing that I have learned is with you doing that, you're not gonna always get as much as you give.
Oh no, not in this world.
You have to be okay with that.
You got to be okay with it.
And also understanding that you have to meet people where they are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you have to know when you've given enough, and that's all that you can give.
That's right. That's true.
And I'm still learning and navigating to know when to stop giving.
That's right.
And when to allow others to save themselves and help themselves.
That's right. That's so true.
And show up for themselves.
Okay. That's so true. That is so true. And I know a lot of people out there can relate to that, and that's going to help a whole lot of people, because a lot of people say that, and you live and you learn, and when you get it, then hopefully it's not too late, but you'll get it, because it's like, as you read different kinds of books, you go in the Bible, and it's almost like you pour in to get nothing back. But I know it states in the Bible, okay, whatever you pour in, don't even expect anything back, because like you said, you may not even get what you think is worth. So whatever you're going to give it, and keep it moving, because that's a blessing for you. And then what you said about meeting people where they are, you have to, because if you don't meet them where they are and you have expectations for somebody else, they'll hurt your feelings, because you if they're a duck, that's a duck. You can't turn a duck into a dog or anything, so you have to do that. And I can relate to that too, as far as, and sometimes when you pour into people so much, you drain yourself. And it's like, you cannot help anybody if you don't have any gas in your tank. How are you going to help anybody else? So you got to fill up your tank, and then go give what you can and keep it moving, because those are blessings as well, So that is so inspiring. I love that. When you stated those things, that is amazing, and I hope someone out there is listening and you can relate to that. And she's a young lady, so she's learned all these things, and she's still learning, but she's on the right track. You have your goals, you have your standards, so that's amazing. So that it just brings me to the next question. So your challenges and resilience. And I know, and you may it may choke you up, and it's okay, because you're helping someone. And that's what this podcast is all about, is helping the next woman, helping the next young woman, old woman, or what have you, through the problems that we have. Then we can put it out here, and someone can listen, and they can learn from it. Take whatever you can from it, and go with it. If you can use it, oh well. So so that brings me to the next one, your challenges and resilience. It says, what were some of the biggest challenges or traumatic experiences you faced, and how did you navigate them? How did returning to the workforce after being a stay-at-home mom help you rediscover yourself? And you have mentioned some of these things, but just reiterate on some of them. And if it's too hard, you can say, okay, I'm not ready to talk about that yet. But yeah, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. So I feel like the most challenging thing that I have had to experience was and I'm not gonna say attracting, running into a lot of verbal and emotional abuse. I have been in a lot of situations. My mother, for example,
it's okay.
Having to navigate that aspect of, forgiving people.
Yes, it's okay.
Forgiving people
it's
for
okay.
the things that they have said and done.
Yes, it's okay. It's hard. It's hard.
Yes, ma'am. So having to work through that has been one of the challenging things, because that is my mother. That is like the closest person that's supposed to love you.
Yes.
Care for you and encourage you. And having to navigate figuring out a lot of things by myself.
Okay.
That was very traumatic for me.
Okay.
Because when my grandmother passed away, I didn't have have anyone to confide in.
Okay, I can relate to that. I can.
So I had to grieve by myself.
Okay.
I had to build myself back up.
Right.
I had to pull myself out of depression. Yes. And I had to put my big girl pants on
yes,
and say, I have to live.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to figure it out.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to check in with myself to see things that I need to change, that I need to acknowledge, work through, and let go.
Yes.
So those were some of the most traumatic things. Having to forgive my mother for the way that she has mistreated me.
Okay.
Having to deal with losing my grandmother, which was my support system, which was my confidant.
Yes.
And then also, and I hate reliving this moment, but when me and my husband first got together, I did experience him trying to take his life, and that was very hard for me. Being there for him and having to navigate, not blaming myself for
I'm keeping it cute. Money going like roots, I'm keeping it cute. Flies in the room, yeah, I'm keeping it cute. Flexed up in the
people. And whether that be my mother, whether that be my husband, whether that be friends, whether that be family, whether that be anybody that I meet, whether they're on, whether a colleague or on the street.
Okay.
Everybody's out here dealing with something.
Right, exactly. And
it's you have to turn on that mental switch to remind yourself that we are not as important as we think in people's lives. And I'm not saying in the aspect of like they don't care about you. I'm saying in the aspect of everybody has something going on.
I know what you're saying.
Some things are just not about you.
That's right. That's right.
I had to remind myself that every wrong thing that I felt like I've done to somebody, every time that somebody has mentioned to me, moments that I wasn't there for them, or moments that I could have done better, that sometimes that could be things that they want to say to themselves.
Right.
And maybe that could be projection that was projecting, being projected onto me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And having to know how to navigate that.
That's right.
I feel like with my resilience, I have been through the things that I have been through in my life to be able to share to someone.
That's right.
To be able to be authentic in my story and to step up and be able to say, I made it through that.
Wow. That is so amazing. And it's so encouraging.
I am better than yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
That is so encouraging.
I am strong.
Yes, you are.
I don't like to classify myself as that.
Yes, you do. You go right ahead and do that because you are. I mean,
everybody's strong in their own
No,
way.
it speaks for itself. Outside looking in at you, yes, it speaks for itself. But go ahead.
However, I am sensitive, and I have to identify with that as well. Things do hurt me.
Yes.
Things do affect me. But nobody's asking me to cover that and mask that with being strong. And I think that's something that I have to separate. You can be strong, be sensitive, or you can just be sensitive, and that's okay. We are meant to feel, because feeling is what helps you grow. And I feel like that is something that it really keeps me pressing on to remind myself that I am normal.
That's right. You are normal. I mean, everybody goes through it. Yeah.
And we all are going through things. We all have a story to tell. And it's the beauty of that resilience that I can look back and say I grew from that, and I'm continuing to grow from that, and I'm continuing to learn myself and better myself.
And it's so amazing.
Yes, ma'am, and not staying in the same place. So,
Well, honey,
that's just the pinpoint. I'm sorry, I just.
No, I love that. No, I love that, and that is really inspiring. And I thank you for sharing that. Because that was in your heart. I could tell it was in your heart, and that is so inspiring. But yes, everybody goes through certain things. It's just how we handle it. And I just want to say, excuse me. Even when I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, and I was praying, and it's like, okay, when I don't have a mom, I don't have a dad, And it's like, I don't have a mom, I don't have a dad, but I got God. And God said, I'm your father, I'm your mother, I'm your sister, I'm your brother. So he's everything to us when we don't have. So all we need to do or can do is go and pray and then wait in expectations, and he will deliver us from some things. And that is so amazing. It may take a while. It may not come when we want it, but it's going to come right on time. And I had said through this channel, I wanted to let different women see how different women go through things and how it can be fixed. But just when you mention your mom, my mom was my best friend. And when she left this world, a piece of me left with her. And I turned into a whole different person. And it's so amazing because I grew up where I grew up at, and I haven't been back there since my mom passed. And when I do ride through there, I get sad. So it's like I live way here on the other side of town, and it's like a whole different world to me. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad, but I'm just trying to relate to you as far as if your mom's not there. I love my mom like she's here today. So loving and having to do as your mom says to do, we're grown. So we respect them and we keep it moving because we have families. We have families. We love them because, and then we keep it moving. And I know it's hard to have a shell up against everything because we're sensitive. And I can relate to you when you said, it almost sounded like you said, I put into people so much, but people act like I don't have a heart. And I can understand that as well because I'm that strong woman. And I put into a lot of different people, but when I feel bad and I feel sad, there's nobody really to talk to because everybody expects for me to be strong. But they don't know I get weak too. But when it's time for me to tell my story of weakness, then it's either they don't really have time for it or whatever. That's why I go to my God. I go to my God and I talk to him like he's next to me. So I'm saying that just to kind of let you know that some of that is I want to say normal, but we know where to go. You have to know where to go to get your healing, and sometimes some people never do because their heart is just that loving that they want to help the world, but some people are not. They don't think like that. They are for themselves and whatever they can get from you, but we have to give what we can give and then go back to our husbands and our children, and do for them because that is our family. And God said, go, create, get a wife, a husband and kids, love your mom and your dad. But hey, you had to do what they told you to do when you were young. Now I'm a grown woman, so I'm going to respect you, but I got to do what I got to do. So I can relate to that. But I can still say that you are a very powerful young lady. You are just wonderful and you're strong. And I'm not in your life, but like I said, I follow different people and you can see their strength. Maybe it's a God thing. You can just see their spirit, So that's amazing. That's amazing. So that is those challenges and resilience. That's amazing. It is. And I'm so glad you shared that with us because I am sure there's a young lady out there crying her heart out, just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so that just brings me to passion and purpose. So we've mentioned the helping of others, and that's a passion of yours. And we kind of talked about what it looks like in your life when helping others. So can you just kind of mention that a little bit more, either again, and also how do you define your purpose and what steps are you taking to live authentically?
So if you would have asked me this question last week, I felt like my purpose would have been what I can only physically give. However, I'm realizing that my purpose isn't just to help people, it's to build connection, and a connection in the aspect of, like what you said, and this is what made me do this podcast to begin with, because like I said, I don't talk about my personal anyone. And this is what I mean when I say connection with me living authentically and stop hiding, aspects of myself, so that way I can connect
right.
to someone and get them connected to maybe the resources that they need.
Oh, wow.
You know,
yes.
bridging that gap between, okay, this individual might have known this, but because I filled in the gaps with my own authenticity and my own story, I was able to fill that gap to get them to where they want to go.
Oh, that's deep. Yes.
So I kind of feel like that's my purpose. How am I navigating that authentically, and how am I showing that? I'm in the process of rebranding and trying to figure out how to build those connections for people, and not just showing them, not just telling them, but being a product of what it is that I want them to see. So behind the scenes, I'm taking steps of aligning my life, you know, to the best that I can with the circumstances that I have, you know, to be a product of what I speak. So that way, when I walk in rooms, I exude, you know, trustworthiness, example, leadership. When I speak to you, I can speak to you from a place of experience and actually provide, you know, useful information, researching so that I'm always building a knowledge base that even if I don't have the answers for you completely, I can give you a resource that can provide the answers that you seek. So those are kind of just the steps that I'm taking to not only show up for myself, but to show up for others.
And you know what? That is so beautiful because it's, okay, lifetime learner. You know, I've always been a lifetime learner. I've always been that. And, you know, it says seeking ye shall find. And it's in anything. So it's like, okay, let me go seeking, you know, what I need to do, how I need to do it. So, I mean, that is so amazing. And I'm so glad you shared that with us. And again, I know there's someone out there that can gain something from this because it's so deep and it's just beautiful. It's women talking to women, whether they be older. You know, older women can teach younger women can teach older. You know, it's always a teaching. And I said in my introductory podcast, you know, I'm the type of woman, I don't mind telling somebody where I get my hair done. I don't mind telling somebody what I put on my skin. You know, I don't mind, you know, but there are others out there that they will not say. And I think that it's an ignorance to me. I'm sorry. Not calling anybody ignorant, but just the demeanor is ignorant. But yeah, so it just brings me to the advice for others. So for young women who feel lost or unsure about their path, what advice or encouragement would you share with them? Can you share?
Yes, ma'am. So I would start with saying, if you're lost and you don't know what to do, sit down and journal. And when I say journal, I mean just every thought, every emotion, each and every day. Start there.
Right.
That'll build a foundation so that you can figure out more about yourself. Journaling has helped me in more ways than one. It has opened up the ability for me to see myself for who I am, outside of what society says that I should be, outside of what my parents said that I should be. My journal is me speaking to myself.
That's right.
So it gave me a foundation to know actually how I speak to myself too. So that was like a great starting point for me. Also, pick up a book. I cannot stress it enough. Pick up a book. I know that we have a hard time slowing our lives down to actually read, but reading, and you don't have to read with the intention of learning anything. You could just be reading just to learn some new words. You could just be reading just to pass the time, but just pick up a book. Getting your brain and your mindset to slow down to do something besides just being on social media also helps you connect to yourself.
It does.
And then network. I cannot stress enough. Do not close yourself off. Do not feel ashamed of the things that you've been through. Network. Connect with people that have like the same mindset as you, the same goals as you, or even people that could be at the same place that you are in life.
That's right.
Just so that y'all can learn from each other, or so that way y'all can build each other up.
That's right.
And then another advice, don't look at everyone and everything like it's competition.
Right, exactly.
Honestly, everybody's just trying to better themselves. We all have 24 hours. It's about the mindfulness of how you use your 24 hours that will determine whether you look at your situation or you look at someone else as competition, or whether you look at it like you need to continuously build your confidence. And when I say confidence, I'm not talking about confidence in the aspect of what you put on.
Right,
or what you want to show people.
Or what you look like.
I'm talking about confidence. Yes, ma'am. I'm talking about confidence in the aspect of trusting yourself that you can do anything that you put your mind
That's
to.
Right.
Trusting yourself to get yourself out of the situation. That's what I mean when I say mindfulness of looking at competition or whether you need to grow your confidence.
That's
because
right.
a lot of what you're unsure about starts with you. And deep diving into you and figuring out what you need to change, what you want to keep, what you want to learn, and what you want to show.
That's right.
And that's the easiest thing. Introspection is your starting point. Start there, and everything else will follow.
That's right. And that is so true. And I thank you so much for sharing that. I love to hear that. I do. I love to hear that because we have to connect with human beings. We were born to connect with human beings. Even as a child, when you come out, if your mom does not hug you and touch you when you're first born, that's why they bring the baby and lay it on the stomach. It's connection. Mm-hmm. So we need to connect. And it goes on into the workplace, like you said, networking into things that, you're doing. We can learn from each other. We can teach somebody. So that is so amazing. And then I always like to leave with a scripture or two. And I know just by talking to the person. And I know like Joshua 1:9, it says, be strong and courageous. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And so that is one. And then God is within her. She will not fail. And I kind of put them toward the person I'm talking to in that spiritual format. And then I always leave with this verse poem, okay? It says, to a strong woman, God needs you to see this verse. Psalms 46:5. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. What you've carried was never yours to fix alone. God's plans don't demand perfection. They welcome surrender. He's not asking you to keep holding it together. He's asking you to rest. Be still. You're a strong woman. You've overcome things that were meant to destroy you. You've cried through sleepless nights. You've gotten back up and wiped your own tears. The battles that were sent to break you, they only built you. And you've thanked God, not because it was easy, but because he gave you strength to keep going. And I just want to say thank you for sharing this moment with us. Let the women know out there you're not alone. You are part of, we are every woman. Until next time, hold on to your strength, your beauty, and your voice. I'm Ruth, and this has been I Am Every Woman. We are every woman. And I thank you so much, Deaunna. You're an amazing young lady. And you always remember that. And you just keep moving. Keep moving, baby. Don't stop.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.